I'm gonna try to make it easier to start creating games with Freja. So now I've created a file called game, and I'm just gonna write down some code, like the code I would like to run to be able to start creating games. So what one needs somehow is a render function, which could take delta time, and we could just do draw rectangle at, I don't know, let's say 40, 50, and it can be a square which is red. There we go. So that's the render function I want, and then we need an onEvent function which takes events and for now just prints them. This could be like keyboard or mouse events. Okay, so this should be all we need for a game, but we need to tell something to start running these. Traditionally, you make an infinite loop, but that would hang the editor. So in this case, we want to tell Freja to run these functions every frame. So the way I would like to do this is perhaps just write maybe start game and give render and onEvent. That might be nice. So is there anything else we need? I don't think so. So this could be a good start. If I hit Ctrl L now, it complains, and I hit Ctrl Alt L to see the log, and we see draw rectangle is unknown, and we could use Freja JLib, which has this function, but I'm thinking that maybe it would be nice, because if this works, and and now we get the start game is missing. So then and that's the module we would have to create. So we could say import Freja flow perhaps and say flow start game. But I wonder if I really want both of these. I'm thinking that these will, I don't think you will ever import this one without getting this one. So I would like it if one could just do this instead. Use Freja/flow. And why flow? I don't know. I just want people to get started as quickly as possible because I think that's an important part of flow. So I hit Ctrl L again. It complains because it can't find module Freja flow. So what they do then is open a new file, Freja/flow.janet, and here we do some boilerplate, just setting a namespace like this, and that's because now if I hit Ctrl L, oh, okay, never mind, that doesn't work. Let's ignore that part for now. So in this we want a start game, which should take a render and onEvent function. And let's see, we will want an ID too, and then do something like this, like let's see, I'm thinking a bit here. To add this to Freja, let's start there, let's ignore the ID for now. The way you start using these render and onEvent functions, you need to add them to Freja somehow, and you can do this by importing import Freja/hiccup, and in hiccup we have let's see, hiccup slash new layer, which could be like game. And this wants, let's see, doc hiccup slash new layer. I don't even remember my own functions. Okay, it wants a name, it wants some hiccup, and oh, here we start getting into some other interesting things. Let's create a custom component which takes this render, and on event as properties, and you can imagine this being similar to HTML, where you have the tag and then some properties, and this tag we have to create too. So we create the tag, and then here we look at the props, render, and on event. Okay, and just to test this, for now this can just be some text, because now we've already written a lot of code without actually doing anything. Okay, so it needs the hiccup and then the props. All right. Let's see. I think this should... maybe we could just add a custom there and have the props side by side. And I think this should be a table. Oh, we can try this first and see. So now we run the start game here instead. And just to try the flow module. Let's see. So this would be the delta time. We can just print the delta time, and then we would have the on event, and we pretty print the event. And I hit Ctrl L, and we'll see what happens. It wants a table array buffer. I think that it might be this one. So let's give it that instead. Okay, so that seems to work. So now we added a new hiccup layer, and it shows up here right now. And that's not quite what we want. What I imagine is that the game will show up in this right pane instead. So instead of creating a new layer, we could just add this custom component to, yeah, we can just put it to the right here. And to do that by doing, let's see, we need to import some stuff. State. Here we go. So we put in state, let's see, we have editor state and then write, which would be this write thing. And it wants a function which puts some props in, but we don't need those props, we just ignore them. And now I hit Ctrl L again. Now we get the result I wanted. So what are we doing? We run start game with 2 arguments that are currently just put into the props of this custom thing. This doesn't need to be a table, it can be a struct. Well, we take those and put them into the props here. But what does this mean? We put the props into the custom hiccup component, and we just do this part to ignore the props that, like the layouting system right now gives some props, but we ignore them. And then we take that function, this component, which just writes hello, and put it in the right pane. We could put it in the left, but then we would lose the editor. So we'll do this for now. Okay. Now, this custom component, we don't want it to render hello, we want it to run these, the render and on event function. We could do this to make it a bit more clear, render and on event. And whenever I hit Ctrl L now, it will run start game, which will replace this write thing. So if I write some numbers here, hit Ctrl L, we see it change immediately. But we don't want this. Instead, we can create a custom component rather than just returning more hiccup, which we did here with the block. We can return a custom component, or perhaps one could call it a custom element, which incidentally needs an on event, and I think this will have a self part, and I think we can ignore that for now. Self ev. So we just call on event with the ev part for now. And I think we have a render function too. We'll see, render. Might be I'm doing something wrong here, but we'll do this for now. I'm gonna hit Ctrl L and see what happens. It breaks. That's interesting. I wonder why. I think it's because we need some more elements. Oh. Oh, I opened the wrong file. Freja. There we go. And now we'll see if you see that I reopen this file. Yeah. Okay, so we need some more things to put here. And this is why I wanted to create this file, so you don't have to care about this, like all the things you need to put in here. So we're gonna open, I have one here, Freja text area.janet, and here we can see which fields I need. We can start by taking these ones. I'm gonna copy this whole thing for now. We don't need all of this stuff, but I think it will be easier if we copy everything and then remove the stuff we don't need. So let's go back to flow.janet and remove these things. Let's see. So here we have the on event, so we can remove all the stuff inside it. And it was the green thing there. And now here we again call the on event that is provided by start game, the one down here. So on event ev, Control Shift F to format. The render, oh right, the render takes like the X and Y of the parent, but we ignore those for now. Oh, and we don't get the delta time. I need to fix that. So for now we just call, let's just call render like this, and it won't take the delta time. It will just print render. Okay, let's see, what's this stuff? Relative sizing. Oh, here I think we can, this is some code to choose the sizing for the element, and we want to, let's see, we can ignore some of these parts. There we go. So the sizing functions get some max width and max height, and we just set it to be as big as the max width and max height. This means that it should take the whole right side. And let's see, DT, that would be default tags, import Freja layout / default tags. as dt. Now let's hope it works. Okay, it didn't break because it says unknown props. Right. We can do this then. Props. And then def props. This is kind of internal stuff really, so don't worry if this seems alien to you. State. Where does it say state? Put state. We don't use any state. We can ignore that. Okay, so now we get the right thing, which takes... Oh, right, that's true. Okay, we can live with this for now. So now the custom thing takes the whole area here, and if we check the log, we should see a lot of print. Yeah, so it says a lot of render when it's running the game. And that's great, but we don't want to render, we want to do other stuff. Okay, so now start game is working. We can put stuff, if I hit Ctrl L, we show stuff here, and we wanted to be able to draw a rectangle, for example. Draw a rectangle, and we can draw it at 10, x10, y10, and 100 by 100, and blue. Ctrl L, something doesn't work. Oh right, it doesn't know what symbol draw rectangle is. So here we do use Freja jlib, Control L. Whoops! Now I locked the screen. That's not right. I have a new keyboard, so I'm not used to it yet. Is the stream still going? Yeah. Okay, Control L. There we go. Now we get the rectangle, and as you'll see, the 1010 is now from the corner of this hiccup component. So this hiccup component, rather than going up above the menu. So start game works, but now I also wanted to expose this Freja jlib. And I actually don't remember how to do that, so we'll have to do that some other time. So for now, I'll just comment this out. Freja, not Feta. Like this and this. Control Quit F, Control L. Seems to work. Cool. Now we can go back to our game, or that's at least what I thought I could, but my alarm is ringing, so I have to go now. But at least we got started on the flow module, and the next time we can get started on the game.